Welcome to the Just As We Are podcast. I'm Katrina, certified life coach, aspiring author, lover of people, mama in recovery, and student of life. Each week, I will bring you love, inspiration, the real life stuff people are afraid to talk about, and guests who are willing to shine their light for you. I give you self-care practices and mindset tips to help you shatter the negative stories you tell yourself. Now is the time to step into the beautiful, loved, whole woman you already are. Let's walk this journey together. Hello and welcome back to another episode of the Just As We Are podcast. I am your host, Katrina Lelly, and we are on episode 20, you guys. That just makes me so excited, and I hope you're excited too, because that is a big deal. You know, not everybody who starts a podcast or starts a new project will make it to 20 episodes, will make it past their first 30 days or their first year. And to have reached episode 20 is a big deal. And so I am celebrating, and I hope that you celebrate with me, because I am so just grateful for all of the guests that I've had the pleasure of bringing on to the podcast so far. And I am incredibly excited for the rest of 2020 and the guests that I get to bring on and the conversations that I get to have with them and the conversations that I get to have with you guys, and to continue to watch this podcast grow is so cool. You know, this morning, I was at the coffee stand picking up a coffee, and I was talking to the girl at the window, and she asked me what I was doing today. And I said, oh, I'm, out running a few errands, and then I have a podcast episode to record. And she's like, oh, I love a really good podcast. And you could tell she didn't quite hear me. And so I had these little stickers printed up, and I handed it to her, and I said, hey, here's my podcast. Take a listen. And she got so excited. She's like, hey, I can't wait to listen to it. And I'm like, yes. That is the magic right there. That's what I love. And I'm so excited that I will have a new listener. And I appreciate all of my listeners that come on, whether, you get something out of an episode, whether you're here just to support me. I hope that all of you get something from these episodes. I hope that, there is a small change being made in your life by hearing the stories of the women that I get to bring on and have conversations with. My whole goal in this podcast is to change somebody's day, to change somebody's moment that they're having, because there is so much power in the stories that we share, and the stories when we sit down and have conversations with other people. We find out that, we're not alone in those thoughts that we think that are maybe really crazy, or we're not alone in those experiences that we've had. And if somebody else has gone through that and they've survived, maybe I can too. And, that's what I love doing and bringing to you. That's what I love and has been most powerful for me too, is learning, I'm not alone. I learn, every time I have a conversation with a guest, I learn something new to try differently. I learn something new about myself, and obviously I learned something new about them. And it's been the most fun that I've ever had in a project so far. And I just thank you from the bottom of my heart for continuing to tune in each week and to listen to these episodes and to share them with your friends and giving me your feedback. It means the world to me, and I say it all the time because it is true. Like, I have a message to share, and I know that it can change somebody's life. I know that it can make an impact in a small way, and that's where it starts, right? Is in the small ways. So today I want to talk to you guys about how do we get to the I am enough? How do we start to feel that I am enough? How do we knock away that unworthy feeling, that shame or that guilt, or like, I will never be enough. I will never do enough or have enough. Like the I am enough. How do we dismantle that and get to the place where we feel confident and powerful and we feel we have a purpose and we know what we're doing, and that we don't go and feed into those thoughts anymore. So how do we get to the I am enough? And when this is coming up for you, stop and ask yourself, where is this belief coming from? Where did this belief start? Sometimes the best way to do that is in journaling. So if you are in that mode of you're feeling like you're having a crappy day and you're feeling beat down, or even on a good day, really, but sometimes it's easier to bring that stuff up and out when you're in that moment, grab a pen and paper and journal. There is such a magical thing that happens when you put pen to paper and you just write and you allow yourself to write and not put anything on it. Just allow whatever is coming up to flow, whether it makes sense or not. And if you can't write something, if you're feeling stuck, you just write anyways. Like, I don't know what to write. I'm feeling stuck at this moment. I think this is a stupid process and I don't know why I'm doing this because Katrina said so and she said it would be magic and it's not magic. Whatever it is, just write it out because eventually it'll start to flow. And in our writing is usually where our answers come from because we always have our answers within us. So ask your question, where is this belief coming from? Why do I believe that I am not enough? Is it around just certain situations? Is it around just certain people? Is it when you're put into a certain position? Or are you trying to go for a certain goal? Or are you trying to obtain a certain position at work? Like, what is it where are you at? And what is coming up and where is this belief coming from? And so the more that you journal and the more that you write about it, I want you to think back into your childhood. I want you to go backwards into your life. And I want you to kind of do some uncovering and some digging. Where did this belief first start coming up for you? When did you start to get that notion that maybe you're not enough? Usually, it's going to show up in your childhood somewhere. It's going to be that little girl. It's going to be that little girl who's actually in control at that moment, those moments, that you have those thoughts that I'm not enough, I'm not good enough, I can't do that. There's no way. Like when that fear and that scaredness comes up, usually that means little Katrina is in charge or little whoever you are is in charge that is listening. That's usually, and so where did this belief come from? And growing up in a home of alcoholism and having the situations occur that occurred, my parents splitting when I was 13 years old in a really nasty divorce in a really nasty way and being abandoned by both of my parents in different ways, and even before that, I always felt like I was not enough. I was the child who, she would rather go hang out with the adults than go hang out with her friends. So my mom and dad used to go to my dad's friend's house on Friday nights to go party and drink and hang out. And I always had to go with them. I always wanted to be there. I was a fear that I was going to miss out on something. And, even in growing up with my brother, I remember thinking, and you have to remember, this doesn't make any situation true when we had these thoughts true. It's our perspective. It's what we felt and seen as a child. And that's what matters here in this. And, thinking that whenever my brother and I would get in a fight, guess who would be believed? Even though usually it was him antagonizing me or he's the one that did something wrong, I was the one always to blame. And growing up in the way I did, in the home I did, and having parents who left at a very vital time in my life, trying to always do, to fix, to go save the day, and it never seeming like enough. Like it didn't bring my dad back. It didn't bring my mom to sobriety. It didn't, get my mom to love me anymore. It didn't get her to stop playing the games. It didn't get my dad to understand that he didn't need another family. It didn't get those things brought back for me. And so that's where my I'm not enough came from. No matter what I did, I didn't feel loved. No matter what I did, I didn't feel heard. In those instances and arguing with my brother, like I didn't feel heard. I also was made fun of for having big dreams and for being dramatic and emotional because people didn't know how to handle that. They didn't know how to support me in a way that wasn't degrading. And therefore I felt I wasn't enough. And so asking, where is this belief coming from, and recognizing that it's probably the little girl inside. And this is where then we get to nurture that little girl. We get to step in and be the person that they needed at that time. And we get to step in and say, it's okay, Katrina. It's okay, my baby girl. You are loved. You are whole. You are enough. I understand you're hurting, but I'm here now and everything's going to be okay. So ask where that belief is coming from. And then ask, in that too, ask when you're journaling this out, does this actually hold any truth? Because if we break it down, if we pause what we're doing and we step back and we're able to look at it and we're in that journaling, it's like, does this hold any truth? Am I really not enough? No, no. When we stop and we pull ourselves out of it and we're able to back out of the situation a little bit and ask ourselves that question, does this actually hold any truth? Am I really not enough? Well, no, it's not. And then ask yourself, what if I'm not enough? What if I'm not? Walk yourself through that. What if I'm not enough? What if this doesn't work? What if I don't get the promotion? What if I don't succeed? What if I don't start bringing in money for my job? Like, this is relevant to me. I was having these thoughts yesterday and I let little Katrina take over, and I found myself emotional and upset and frustrated and angry. And later on, I got a little bit of coaching from my mentor and I was reminded of some of these things, and break it down. What if I'm not enough? Then what? What happens if I fail? Then what? Walk it backwards. And you're going to end up walking it backwards back to that little girl. And for me, when I walk it backwards, well, what if I'm not enough? What if these people don't believe in me and they don't buy into what I'm trying to do? What if they don't accept it? What if I don't succeed? Well, then what will happen? What if I don't succeed? I don't know. What are you specifically talking about? Well, what if I do this coaching business and I'm doing this podcast and people don't want to coach with me and people don't listen to my podcast? Okay, well then what happens? Then I'm left all by myself. And for me, for a very long time, that was a hard and difficult thing. I hated being by myself. I didn't want to be left alone. I had to have somebody with me. I relied so much on other people, especially guys, my boyfriends. That's why I've never not been in a relationship since I was 16. Why? What if they left? What if they don't listen? Then I'm left all by myself. Okay. And what if you're left all by yourself? Then what happens? Well, I don't know. I'm by myself and I feel really sad and crazy and upset. Okay, so you feel really sad, crazy, and upset. I understand. That absolutely hurts. Nobody wants to feel that way, right? But then what's the worst that can happen? Well, I'm still here. And if for some reason this didn't work out, I get to go do something else. Bingo. Will you die? Will you die at the end of it? No, I'm not going to die. I mean, I'll still be here. I'll be by myself, which now I like to be by myself, but I didn't before. So you back it up into the worst case scenario. Like, what's the worst that could happen? And when you get to that point, okay, then what could happen? Then what's the worst thing and back it all the way up. And it really comes down to those, for me, that abandonment stuff, I'm not good enough. It brings it back down to that, like feeling so unloved, so unworthy, but knowing how I can flip that around. What is the worst that can happen? Are you going to die from it? No, I'm not. I'll still be here. So then you get to turn around and ask yourself, well, what can I do from here? How can I change this thought pattern? Because is it serving you to have these thinkings and thoughts? No, it's not. Ask yourself, is this serving me? Is this thought process serving me? And if you feel it is and you want to still hold on to it, that's fine. Hold on to it. If it's not serving you and you're ready to make a change, do I want to hold on to this thought that I'm not worthy? Do I want to continue to hold on to these feelings of unworthiness, shame, not good enough, all of those things that come with that? Do I want to continue to hold on to that thought? No. Ask God to remove it. Get down and pray. However you pray, God, I know that I'm worthy. I know that I'm enough. I know that I am your beloved child. And I know that I am loved. I'm asking that these be removed from me. Remove from me every character defect. Remove from me these thoughts and feelings that no longer serve me. Remove from me these thoughts that don't allow me to be the best I am for you. However it is. And if you don't pray, that's fine too. But just ask the universe, remove these from me. I want these taken from me. When you speak these things out loud, the universe will go to work in your favor. It will turn around and go to work for you. Once you put it out there, it'll go to work for you. So ask, where is this belief coming from? Back it all the way up and try to find out where this belief first came from. Ask yourself, does this actually hold any truth? And then ask, what if I'm not enough? Then what? Back it up. Then what? Back up the worst case scenario until you're left with nothing and you cannot dismantle it anymore. Ask yourself, is this serving me? Is this thought serving me? And do I want to hold on to this thought? And if it's not, then release it and let it go. Well, then, we let it go. We have to replace it with something. How do we replace this feeling with something more empowering? How do we replace? This is where affirmations is a big, big deal, you guys. And I understand if you've never done affirmations before, it feels really awkward and it feels so weird at first. I get it. Like, it looks really strange. I've been challenged to do affirmations in a new way, like naked standing in front of the mirror. And while I've been dancing and stuff, taking all that in is a little bit scary for me because I'm not happy with the way that I look right now or the way that I feel in my body. And I'm working on that. But how do we replace this feeling with something more empowering? Affirmations. Looking at yourself in the mirror. You don't have to do anything, but I really highly recommend you get in front of a mirror and you look at that woman, that bold, brave, courageous woman that is so loved. Look at her in the mirror, look at her in the eyes and tell her, I am loved. I am safe. I'm a beloved child of God. I am a worthy warrior queen. I am amazing. I am beautiful. I am a top 100 podcast host. I am a lifestyle strategist and people come to me and want to work with me. I have success. Whatever it is that you are feeling called to be affirmed in, say it out loud. People are coming to me. They want to work with me and I am loved and I am a master at what I do. I'm a master at being an interviewer on podcasts. I am a master lifestyle strategist. I'm a master speaker on stage. I have written a book, whatever those things are that help you feel empowered and help you switch that thinking and that thought of I'm not enough. I am loved. I am bold. I am courageous. I am brave. I am strong. I am safe. I am safe. And repeat those things and do them regularly throughout the day. Do them every morning. You don't always have to do them in front of the mirror, but try to do that at least once a day in front of the mirror. It is life-changing. And it does feel so awkward at first. I get it. If you've never done them before, but I promise you, it will change your life if you commit to doing that small thing. So how else can we replace the feeling with something more empowering? Practice radical self-love. And what is radical self-love? Love yourself like crazy. Love on yourself like crazy. What does that look like? What is it that just, oh my gosh, melts your heart when you are pampered in a certain way, pampering yourself, exercising regularly, taking care of your body, eating healthily, getting your girl time in, going and having fun, going hiking in the mountains, just a big warm hug to yourself or from somebody. What does that radical self-love look like? When you are taking care of you, you're taking care of your spirit. and you're filled up, that energy exudes from you and it goes out into the world. And then you are so filled up, those thoughts are less likely to creep in. And being in touch with your spiritual side. Are you connecting to something greater than yourself? Are you allowing goodness to come into your life? So how do we get to the I am enough? Journal, ask the questions. Where is this belief coming from? Does it actually hold any truth? What if I'm not enough? Then back it up. Ask yourself, is this serving me? And do I want to hold on to this thought? Pray, ask God to remove it from you. And how do we replace this feeling with something more empowering? Affirmations. Turn to your higher power. Practice radical self-love. Journal. Read. All of those things will help you turn that around and become the woman that you already are. Because you are already whole. You are already enough. You are enough because you are here. You are enough because you are God's child. You are enough because you are alive. And that is all you really need. Your enoughness is not going to come from anybody outside of yourself. Your enoughness is inside. So that's where you get to look, is inside, to know that. You are already whole. You are already loved just as you are. And I want you all to know that. And I want you all to remember that. And because of the way we are programmed and with the world the way it is today, we get to work on that. We get to work on that every day. I work on it every day because I have my moments where that thought creeps in. What am I doing? I'm not enough. And that's the self-sabotage. That's sabotage. We go to work. We actually go to work to make ourselves believe we're not enough. Especially when we're committed to stepping into the highest version of ourselves, when we're committed to stepping into the woman that we are, when we're committed to stepping into that beautiful, loved, whole, amazing woman that we already are. So I hope you guys enjoyed that. I hope that you take something away from today's episode. Please remember to head over to iTunes and leave me a 5-star review and share this episode with your friends and family who you know that it could serve today. That would mean the world to me. My message doesn't go anywhere and without your guys' help. I'll talk to you soon. Hi friends, if you enjoyed this episode of the Just As We Are podcast, it would mean so much to me if you would head on over to iTunes and leave me a 5-star review. Take a screenshot of today's episode and tag me at Katrina Lelly on your social media. If you haven't already, head on over to the Just As We Are podcast community on Facebook and hit join, where you will get to join more of the Just As We Are tribe. And remember that no matter where you are on your journey, you are completely whole and loved just as you are.